One of the big issues with these little excavators is there's no cooling system. So what you have is you just have a Briggs & Stratton motor here, and it's in this essentially box, and you just have airflow from the two sides, but it's passive airflow. There's no way for the heat to really escape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a 12-volt fan on this side and one over here on this side of these grates. And I'm going to have them pulling air in, which will be cooling off the motor, and most of the air will be blowing out the backside. So this will help cool off the motor, cool off the hydraulics, and cool off the gas tank. As far as how these things are wired, they are wired as in your ground runs up and it hooks into the battery disconnect. So your battery disconnect is just a ground disconnect here. So I'll hook my ground up here, and then I'll hook my hot wire directly up to where the line comes from the battery onto the engine. I'll just plug in there, and then whenever your battery disconnect is turned on, you'll hear the fans running. This will also remind you to shut off your batteries when you're done with the machine. That way you don't leave it on and allow the battery to get drained down. So this is the wiring harness, and this is just a simple setup here. This is going to hook up to the battery, then it goes into a fuse block, and then I have this female connector here. I just stripped the wire, bent it over itself, and then crimped it on here. The reason I have two male connectors on the fan is because these are bi-directional fans, so they can either push air or they can pull air. All I have to do is switch the leads. So if later on down the road I want to change the direction of flow of air, I can just change the leads. So the way this will work, battery, fuse, first terminal plugs in, and then over here at the end of it, plugs into the other terminal. Same thing with the neutral, or the ground wire. The ground wire is going to be attached to the battery disconnect switch, so when you turn that switch on, it energizes this whole circuit. And same thing, this is going to first go to this fan right here, and then the second fan. So just a simple setup here, but it is going to allow us to cool that motor and keep the hydraulics cool, and most importantly keep that gas cool. There are videos online of these little excavators that show the gas actually boiling inside that gas tank when they take the cap off, because it is getting so hot in there because there's no airflow. So hopefully this will cut down the risk of boiling your gasoline. Alright, first order of business is to install all the fans. So the way I hold these on here is I have these little holes here, and I just go through them with zip ties, and then I come around the holes in the grates here, and that's the holes these on. I just use 3 zip ties, and I don't have any issues with it. Okay, here is a finished product. I have these 1" by 1". They're for wire control. We just have 3M tape on them. They stick there and you can run your zip ties through them. Put 3 along the top there, zip tied to the existing wiring harness there, and let's see if I can get this to focus. It just wires into the fan right there. Fan's attached with zip ties to that inner grate right there, or grill, and same thing on this side. There's the fan. You can see that's been attached with zip ties to the inner grill. It's down low, so it pulls in the cool air down low and hopefully forces it all out the backside here. That's the idea of this. As far as wiring here, you can see we're hooked up to that battery switch right here, and the red wire. See if I can get the camera down here to focus. It goes all the way down below and it connects right in on the starting solenoid of this Briggs & Stratton motor. It's literally directly attached to the same wire that comes right off the battery. I felt that that was a better location to put it than instead of trying to go from the battery directly to here. Just less wires, because if you come around this side, there's not a whole lot of room to work here, and the less wires I have up here, the better, because this is pretty close to the top of this metal plate, and I don't want to add any more of a chance of something to spark and short out this battery. So, looking at it from the outside though, you'll never know unless you look really tight in there. You can see the fan when you turn it on. You could add a rocker switch if you wanted. There's room up here where you could cut out a spot, put another rocker switch so that you can have the fans on or off. However, I think anytime you run this thing, it's a good idea just to have the fans going, even if it's cold weather, just to keep the airflow in here so you don't get this compartment too hot. As you can see, they've stuffed a lot of things in here. You got a motor, your gas tank, your hydraulic pump, and that's all putting off a lot of heat, so you do want to have some sort of airflow there. But this is a pretty straightforward install here. So now all I have to do is put on the cover here. That's the hydraulic tank there, and we will be in business. So hopefully you guys got something out of this video.